Many thanks for still keeping us company right here on KBC Channel 1. You're watching Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike Migo. Welcome back to the show. And now I want us to talk about matters that relate to bees. Now, you know, in Kenya, agriculture remains the backbone of our economy. And, there are indications that there are declining bee populations within the country, which now poses a great risk when it comes to honey production, also crop yields, and also environmental conservation. And that is why I want us to center our conversation today on why the future depends on the bees. There's a story that is carried on page 22 of the Star newspaper. Kenya faces honey deficit, depends on imports. Kenya is still unable to meet local demand for honey and other bee products, forcing the country to rely on imports from neighboring states. Stakeholders in the apiculture sector have said. That will form part of the conversation that I am having with Dinah Bosibori Momanyi, who is a livestock production officer. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm good, and you?
I am great. You know, as a country, we are facing honey deficit. This is according to a report they are carried on the Star. Why do you think we are having declining bee population within the country?
Our bee populations are declining because of what we are doing as human beings, as Kenyans. Number one, we are destroying the natural habitats.
Yes.
There's a lot of deforestation going on in the country, and those are natural habitats for the bees. So the populations automatically are declining. Number two, there is indiscriminate use of chemicals. Fine agriculture is good, but how do we use our chemicals? If they're not used wisely, we are killing our bee populations. Yeah.
Indiscriminate use of chemicals.
Yeah.
And there's something we were talking about off air, about when you are in the rural areas, you could hear a swarm of bees passing by, which is something I really do not think is happening as much as it used to happen back then.
Fine. It is happening, yes, but it has decreased. When the populations decline,
yes,
what happens? Our numbers have declined. So the frequency at which the movement was happening, it's not happening.
Yes.
It's no longer happening. So the country should do something before we reach that critical part where we'll not have food in this country.
We should start now.
We should start now.
You work with farmers. What is your role within that sphere?
I am an apiculture expert. Previously, agriculture was a national function. But after devolution, it was a devolved function. It being devolved, what we do as national government, we do capacity building and offering technical assistance to the counties. What we do as national government, we do TOTs, training of trainers. We train counties. We in turn train farmers. So we don't deal with farmers directly.
Yes.
But we train our officers at county level who will in turn train farmers. When we get new technologies, research findings, we pass this information to the counties. We in turn pass it to the farmers. Yeah.
In that interaction, are there misconceptions that Kenyans may have when it comes to apiculture? Are there misconceptions that Kenyans may have when it comes to beekeeping?
Yes, there is. Some people believe people keep bees doing it for witchcraft purposes in some regions, like some parts of the coastal area. I think areas around Matuga, when you tell people bees are good, and people could tell you people keep bees, they're doing it for witchcraft purposes. I think there is that fear, bee phobia. People are scared of bees. But one thing I think I want to tell our viewers, they are just as friendly as you are. It's only issues on how do you manage these bees for you to harvest what they have. Yeah. And
you know, the world is set to mark the World Bee Day this year. And it's themed Together for People and the Planet, a partnership that sustains us all. What does this mean for farmers who have bees and have consumers of hive products?
I want to start by saying that the World Bee Day is being celebrated all over the globe. And around 2017, the UN declared for us to create awareness about the role of bees in pollination and food security issues. So around 2018, as a nation, we started celebrating the World Bee Day. And I think as Kenya, we've never skipped celebrating, apart from 2020 when we had Corona. So it's something which has been going on. So for this year, the question you've asked, for farmers, for all of us, it shows our relationship with the bees. And it makes us understand we've coexisted with bees since time immemorial. And then for farmers, I want to say that these are the most hard-working workforce, which is unpaid for by the farmers. Remember, bees do pollination services. Yes. Which is key for the farmers. And research has shown that crop yields increases by around 30 to 40% with pollination. But for some crops like sunflower, the production may go higher at around 80%. So it means, as a farmer, they are going to increase their yields. That is number one. Yes. Number two, there is the products which they are going to get from the bees. So even as we celebrate, as the theme says of this year, it's good for the farmers because their yields are going to be increased. And for the consumers, when you purchase honey, when you purchase propolis, people think that from the hive, you only get honey, but the other products. So when people consume, when consumers purchase honey, when they purchase propolis, when they purchase beeswax, they're supporting a very delicate ecology. In that, when they purchase this product, the farmer gets the money, yes. But this farmer has to keep healthy bee populations. And when the bee populations are healthy, the pollination part is going to take place, and our food security issues are taken care of. Yeah.
Does it also, does the World Bee Day encourage farmers to adopt sustainable environmental practices?
Of course, yes. If we don't sustain our environment, how will these bees thrive? As you celebrate the World Bee Day, what the message you're passing across is, let's conserve our environment. Number one, we should avoid the destruction of the natural habitats. We should stop using chemicals which kill our bees. And by the end of the day, we are conserving the bees. And remember, bees conserve our ecosystem. Yeah.
And when you look at the theme, it kind of speaks about partnerships. But are we doing enough to ensure that farmers, researchers, policymakers, and markets are connected, or is the information, or is there a breakdown of linkage within that area? Is the information in silos?
Ideally, we should work as a partnership because there is no one individual who can conserve the bees. But somehow along the line, there is a broken communication kind of. That is why people are working in silos. Sometimes the researchers may do some research, and this information, sometimes it does not reach the farmers. Sometimes the development partners are doing something which maybe the government is not doing. So in an ideal situation, we should work as a partnership. A partnership is you gain something, I gain something. And the common goal is for the bee itself. Because if you're doing research on bees, I am training on bees, what are we doing? The major goal is we want to conserve this animal. Some people call it insects, but us in livestock, we call it an animal.
Why?
But it's an animal. That is where I'm from, from the livestock production part of it. Yeah. And whatever it's doing, it's for our own benefit. Yeah. So ideally, we should work together as a partnership for the betterment of the environment, for the betterment of the life of the bee.
Yeah, because this also translates to food security within the country. And when you look at the World Bee Day 2026, it's something that is marked, as you put it, globally. But why is it important for countries like Kenya?
I want to say that it's not only important for Kenya, but globally. Remember, you've said something on the decline of bee populations.
Yes.
It's not only happening in Kenya, but it's all over the world. Researchers are saying we are facing a situation called insect degona. Insect degona is a situation whereby the bee populations are, the insect population are declining. And if they are declining, I want us to know that bees pollinate around 75% of the flowering plants. So when these populations decline, what happens to the pollination services? They decline. And when they decline, what happens to our food security? It's threatened. Let me come back to our country.
Yes.
Kenya is an agriculture country.
Yes.
Agriculture contributes to 22% to the gross domestic product. Sawa sawa? And it contributing 22% to the gross domestic product, it employs around 40% of the labor force. But look at our country, 80% it's on arsals, arid and semi-arid areas, 80%. And in these areas, crops do not perform well. But bees are very resilient. They do well in those areas. Number two, as a country, we are facing issues of climate change. The impacts of climate change. There are times it's very dry. There are times when the rains come, the issues of floods. But in such situations, when crops fail, bees don't fail. At least we'll harvest something. And this one can give some income to the farmer, and it will change the livelihood of the farmers. Yeah.
And also, you know, when you look at beekeeping, there's something about hive management, and which means hive management may contribute to the decline or increase of the bees, if you may handle that.
Yes. Ideally, people think if I have a hive and I place it somewhere, automatically I'm going to manage, I'm going to get some honey. But that is not the case. For us to get milk, we have to do A, B, C, and D. And for the bees, we say it's good for you to do something we call inspection.
Yes.
And while you're doing inspection, you want to check on how does that colony, a colony is a group of bees in one hive, how is that colony behaving? Is the queen there? Is it laying? So those are some of the things which you do. And in hive management, you have to check even the surrounding. What is happening in my surrounding? I am a bee farmer. You're an agriculture farmer, and you're using chemicals. How does it affect my bees? As a good manager of my colonies, I have to approach you and talk about how to use the same. When you're doing your hive management, how do you open your hive? What type of smoke are you using? Because you use smoke when working with bees. Are you using the type of smoke which is going to kill the bees?
Oh, there's a specific smoke that is...
There's some kinds which you don't use.
Okay.
Yeah. And some people use fire directly. So when you're using fire directly, the traditional way of doing it is you're going to kill the bees.
It's the DIY.
So management...
the DIY, do it yourself, kind of.
So the management aspect of beekeeping is very key. Yeah.
And, you know, still on this day, who are the main stakeholders that you're bringing together in these celebrations of World Bee Day?
I want to say that beekeeping is a partnership, and we have very many stakeholders. Number one, I want to start with us. Number two, you have the Apiculture Platform of Kenya. Apiculture Platform of Kenya is a body that brings together all bee value chain actors, be it farmers, processors, and exporters. Then you have researchers. we have farmers who are key. We have financial institutions. Yeah.
Now, you know, how can farmers and community participate in these celebrations, and what benefits do they stand to gain from it?
So for like in these years, if you are near Mombasa, we welcome you to the ground. But for those farmers who are not and who cannot make it to Mombasa, you can do something small for the bees. Like you can plant trees. You can come together as a community. Let me say that if you're from Turkana, you can come together as bee farmers from Turkana, then exchange knowledge on what you're doing, the best management practices you're doing, and how you're getting your products to help other farmers. Remember, we are saying beekeeping is a partnership. So by sharing knowledge with one another, they can help each other improve that. Yeah.
And if bee populations continue declining, as we are talking about, what could that mean in terms of food prices, food security, in the near future?
I want to go back and say there is a scientist by the name Einstein. He said, if all bees die, we cannot live for 4 years. So what it means, if our bee populations are declining, our food security is threatened. Remember, bees do pollination. When they are doing pollination, number one, they increase the yield, the quantities of what we get. Number two, the quality of the food we get. And remember, when these numbers are going down, what happens with our crops? And what happens to the quantities of food we get? It declines. And our populations are increasing as a country or as a world at large. So it means we are going to lack food and we are going to die someday.
Let's look at profitability of beekeeping. How is it? How does that value chain look like, especially for smallholder farmers, women, and even youth groups?
Number one, if there is an investment, investing in,
yes,
it's in apiculture. Reason number one, it requires low capital investment. For you to buy a good cow, how much does it cost? I'm asking you, how much does a good cow?
A good cow?
Yes.
From 100,000 shillings.
From 100,000.
Yes.
With
a good cow that will give you good amount of milk.
But with apiculture, you need around 50,000. You'll buy around 5 hives. You buy the protective gear. And from one hive, with good management, you can get around 20 kilos of honey per season. And per season, I mean, when it rains, the plants do the flowering part of it. Previously, we used to say we have 2 seasons in Kenya. With climate change, we cannot say. But in a year, you can harvest around 40 kilos. So 40 times 5 hives?
200.
200.
Yes.
At farm gate price in Kenya is around 500 shillings. So how much is that?
Wow.
And then, not only do you get honey, you can get other products. So compare that with from the dairy cattle and the investment in feeding that cow as comparison to what the bees do. Because with the bees, if you place them in the apiary, they go out foraging so long as there are plants to forage from. So it's a low capital investment. Number two, it's not labor intensive. You can do inspection once a month. But how many times do you feed a cow?
Every day.
Every day. Number three, women and youth don't own land. True or false in our country. But they can do apiculture within the land which they do not own. Because they can convince their parents, if they're the youth, if the lady can convince the husband, these bees are going to do pollination for the crops. At the end of the day, they're going to get something which will change their lives. And there's so many things which you can do, which you can get at the end of the day.
Yes.
After harvesting honey, depending on the type of hive you have, you get other products. which you can sell and make money. So for the youth, it's a good area which you can venture into. Yeah.
You mentioned something about hive inspection. For someone probably who has a hive or several of those, when you're doing hive inspection, what are you looking out for? What are you searching for?
Number one, you want to check on the condition of the colony. In a hive, we have 3 types of bees. You have the queen bee, who does the laying. You have the workers, as the name suggests, to go out, bringing in the nectar, doing the defense part of it, and we have the drones. The work is mating the queen, which is done once. So when you're opening the colony, is the queen laying? If she's laying, how is the pattern? And if she's not laying, what should you do as a farmer? Number 2, if there is you check if there is honey. And if there is honey, at what stage? We don't go harvesting everything. We harvest only what is ripe. And we check if there is the presence of pests. And as a farmer, you do something. Yeah.
What kind of pest affects bees?
We have small beetles. We have wax moth. Sometimes you can get even snakes, depending on where they are. You can get rats. So you go inspecting and seeing, are my bees okay? There are those ones which the bees can defend themselves against, but there are those which they cannot do. And sometimes you may get that something died inside the hive. So what the bees do, they propolize that. So as a farmer, we say when you're doing your inspection, you're checking what is inside the hive, you should also clean that hive for the environment to be suitable for the bees. Yeah.
And that is all about hive inspection.
Yeah.
You know, if something is to happen and secure the future, because as we are saying, the future depends on bees. Are there policies or actions that are needed from the government and communities to ensure that they support agriculture and bee conservation?
Yes. Number 1, I think we need a very strict policy on the use of chemicals in this country. It's good to use chemicals for some crops, but how do we use this? Remember, I've just said that indiscriminate use of chemicals has killed our bee populations.
Yes.
So we should have strict regulations on that and strict enforcement. Another issue, I think we have regulations on the quality standards of the bee products. But if you go all over the country, you'll get adulterated honey. So the enforcement part of it should be enforced strictly so that people can consume the right product. Yeah. Number 3, we should, the government should ensure that the national policies on apiculture are well coordinated with what is happening in the counties. As much as agriculture is a county government, whatever happens in the county should be reflected. Whatever the national government wants should be reflected at the county level in terms of conservation of the bees.
Yes.
For the farmers, they should ensure that they conserve the environment.
Yes.
Because the environment is theirs.
Yes.
And they want to get the product. So they should ensure that the environment is well conserved. They should plant, I think, more trees for the future of the bees.
And when you look at apiculture in general, are there bee products that have highest export and commercial potential?
I don't want to talk about export potential because all of them have. But I want to look at it in this way. What products do we get from the hive apart from honey? I want to say that at farm level, at farm gate, what fetches the least amount is honey. Because you can get it at around 500 shillings.
Yes.
We have beeswax. After processing honey, whatever remains, you process wax.
Yeah.
This wax at farm gate price is around 650 shillings. And it's used for making cosmetic products.
Yes.
We have another product called propolis. It's the bees collect it from trees, but research has shown that it's an antibacterial and antiviral. At farm gate price, it ranges from 3,200 to 5,000 per kilo. We have bee venom for apitherapy purposes. As a country, we've not ventured into East, but we have around 2 to 3 farmers who are doing it. And then you have the royal jelly. Royal jelly is good for us, for you and me, because we don't want to grow old. Ama, you want to grow old?
Well, time has a way of catching up.
But it makes you remain young. So that is another product which you can get from the hive.
Yes.
So it's a value chain which has immense potential. And if well nurtured, if well taken care of, it can change the livelihoods of many Kenyans in this country.
Yeah. And finally, in the long term, are there actions that you think should happen to ensure that bees, the ecosystem they support, is well taken care of for the survival of future generations?
There is the program the president has been doing of planting trees. But I want to say that even as they plant trees, they should consider trees that are bee-friendly. Bees get nectar from plants, but not every plant. So I think when each year we are planting trees, a certain percentage, if you are planting, let me say 100,000 trees,
yes,
around 60,000 trees should be bee-friendly. Because remember our discussion, there is the issue of pollination,
yes,
there is the issue of food. If these bees have got food to eat, it's good for you and me, and it's good for this nation. And for a nation to be food secure, we need these bees. So number one, the issue of tree planting. Number two, we should have a strategy as a nation on how to conserve this important animal. In that it should not be seen as the work of the government alone. It should be seen as the work of each one of us, starting from the preschool children up to the policymakers. So another thing, I think apiculture should be introduced in schools at a lower age. That children should know that bees do pollinate food, plants, and that is what makes you to have what you are having. That even as these children grow up, they'll learn conservation issues of the bees. It should be introduced to universities. It should be, at least each and every department in this nation should do something about bees, should do something about conservation. And even to the farmers, I think they should move from the intensive chemical kind of farming to eco-friendly farming so that we can conserve our bees. Yeah.
You know, you said about this being introduced in schools, na nikakumbuka the 4K club back in the day that ilikuwa kuungana kufanya kusaidia Kenya something. That should be part of the
yes, apiculture should be introduced early. I'm not saying that because I work in that industry, but because of the importance of that animal. Let me call it animal, as I've been saying. I want to say, as a country, we talk about exports. There is the export of avocados and other things. But do you know what is behind that? The bees.
the bees.
For good quality food, for good food quality fruits, it's just to get a good pollination. For the shape and the quality of the oil. So we should promote it.
Yeah.
It should be a talk of the day for each one of us, so that this we can reverse what is happening. Come 5-10 years down the line, if you don't do something about the bees, as a nation, we are going to starve.
Talk to someone who has bees and those who plan on keeping bees, and also to someone who does not even know why bees are important.
To those who are keeping bees, please continue. And you are doing something good for this nation. You are changing livelihoods. For those who don't know, bees are very key for you, the food which you eat at the table. And I want specifically to talk to the youth and women. our livelihoods as women can change if we invest in apiculture, if we invest in beekeeping, because the small income which you are going to get from the products which you are going to sell, it's going to change your household. It's going to change your life. Bees are going to help you pay school fees for your children. And I want to say, for those who believe keeping bees is for witchcraft issues, it's a lie. For those who see bees as enemies, I want you to change and see that bees as friends, which can give you food and which can change your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Asante sana.
Thank you.
That is Dina Bosibori Mwanyi, who is the livestock production officer, talking to us about why the future depends on bees. And I hope you have learned a thing or three right here on Good Morning Kenya. This is where this conversation ends. Good Morning Kenya continues shortly.